So talking about how the concept of the you need to understand that the records, or in most cases these guys will register for the tax, but even if the content, or let's say content meaning the packaging or the manufacturer or import, contains 30% recycled plastic, you are you know in you are entitled to this tax. Now, we did have a conversation, or I mean, I've personally watched. I mean, if you haven't watched, it's called Seaspiracy. If you've not watched this yet, you need to watch it, because you need to understand how important the world is, how important the sea is, the ocean is for the planet. And when we talk about the planet, we need to show people in terms of how much of oxygen is actually put out from the ocean, or understanding where the amount of oxygen is going. Because I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of what we do, the animals in it, the the ecosystem in it, these need to come to a point where everyone understands the importance of it, right? Because now, when you're talking about the ocean, you're not only talking about water, you are talking about animals in it, you're talking about fish. When you talk about fish, this could be fish for people as well. And when it comes to this, it covers many industries. And when I'm talking about industries, we're talking about trawlers, we're talking about different ships, we're talking about jobs, and even families that depend on this. So I mean, if the ocean, or if the fish, I mean, even when it comes to the fish, even when it comes to the mammals in the sea, you are talking about the predators, you are talking about the preys, you are talking about the smaller fish, the seaweed, you're talking about all the way from the blue whale all the way down to krill, if it's the sharks, if it is the humpbacks, all the way in the Antarctic or the Atlantic, and then coming to the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and everywhere. Because you need to understand that this is a ton of life, and the sea the sea covers at least 60% of the ocean, 60% of the earth, right? I mean, that is how much the sea covers. And to talk about how important it is to us as an organ, it is an organ for the planet. You need to make sure that it is alive, that it is well, and it is functional, like I mean, where you don't exhaust the resources. Now, we have David Attenborough basically talking about the company in the lines of how, where these guys are, how much these resources are being let's say exhausted. Because when you're talking about the resources, you are talking about more action and more industries, more life on the planet. You're talking about this basically giving you a domino effect in negative, let's say, natural facilities. Because when it comes to this, you need to be able to understand that it's not just you, it's not just the families on earth, but it can come to a point where it is breaking down the animals, it is breaking down any vegetation, any life on the planet. But I mean, I'm just expressing the importance of how the sea, or primarily the sea, or when you talk about different animals, different planets, this is how this is what you need to consider. Now, I'm a host. You can always call me, you can WhatsApp me, you can message me on our hotline, that is 07852 473 473. Or you can also move towards a point where you are under I mean, you move towards a point where you get on a call with me. You can also comment on this video. You can always let me know what your thoughts are. We can get a conversation going. You can let me know what your take is on this topic, where if you agree with me, if you don't, or if you want to actually clarify anything. So share this. You can always share this. And when it comes to the Facebook, you can always hit that bell icon, just like on YouTube, so you follow us and you are notified when we come online, so you don't miss any of our lives. Now we go into a couple of research sessions to discuss what is actually going on in the world and what will actually add value to you. So stay tuned. I'm going to be showing you a quick video on who we are at Relaks Radio. I'll be right back with you very soon. That's right. I'm back with more news on the conversation around plastic and the consideration that companies will need to make when expanding or proceeding in the future in the UK with if they have anything to do with the plastic concept or the conversation. So to continue the story that I was talking about, you can actually call us, you can WhatsApp, you can reach out on whatever is easier for you. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can also comment on this video so you actually get involved with the conversation that's going on right now. So now, on the buzz, we talk about everything tech, business, entrepreneurship, and even anything to do with the NFT market, cryptocurrency market. Updating you on everything that is going on right now. So what I'm going to talk about is how taxes will operate in 2022. But now if you are a company that packages plastic, or you are importing plastics into packaging, you are basically in a less than 30% range in terms of who is actually doing it right now. And the rate of tax will be 200 pounds per metric ton in plastic packaging. I mean, it's relatively not as much, but I mean, you need to consider the fact that this price could increase. Now, I mean, they've given these considerations this year, and they're considering starting at the 1st of April, on the 1st of April next year. So to add to this, they're talking about, I mean, you need to definitely consider putting this number into your financial statements or your expectations in terms of where you are looking at reaching as a company, right? Now, when you add to this, you are considering, the for the record, you need to register for tax, even if the packaging you manufacture might contain more than 30% of recycled plastic, right? And talking about how you need to check if you will need to register for the pay tax, right? Now, chances are you don't. I mean, given that you are a smaller company, you might just want to just in case. I mean, I reckon you just go in case and just do a small check on if you are within this branch, because it's only a 30% 30% of companies that actually are able, or that are actually needed for this conversation. Now, if you are one of the businesses that manufacture or import 10 or more tons of plastic packaging over a 12-month period, you need to register for tax. So let me explain that again. So within a 12-month period, within a year, if you are a company that imports 10 or more tons of plastic, you are liable to apply for this. So talking about the businesses that need to register for tax, you will need to pay plastic packaging tax on any tax, or that's about 30% of recycled plastic. Now, the tax will be charged up to 200 pounds per ton. But for example, let's say you manufacture 10 tons of plastic packaging, and a ton contains less than 30% recycled plastic. Now, see, this conversation is in favor of both of us. I mean, we have Borkaz coming in and saying hi Borkaz, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I appreciate commenting here. Let us know what stream you are actually tuned in on. Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? What stream are you on? Are you on Twitter? So just let us know if you want to add, or if you want to add any more questions along the conversation here. Now, to add to the plastic bottles, you know although there might be consideration in the lines of the fact that this includes importers of plastic packaging, which might already contain goods. Now these goods can contain, I'd say, plastic bottles, if it is shampoos, if it might be oils. You do get some of these bottles that actually contain some of the product, whatever product that might need plastic packaging. Because I mean, again, like I said, these companies that have been operating have been having at least 10 to 50 years of history of working in such a way where they actually don't need to use in they don't need to use in the additional packaging. And there's no such cost effective alternative yet. So I'd say, talking about the packaging, let's say in plastic, in shampoos, for instance, right? So if I am a shampoo exporter, now if I do my shampoos, it is important for me to consider the costs that might be involved in my business with regard to the plastic taxes next year onwards. But another way that I could, look at reducing this tax is to check with, alternatives, in terms of the packaging. If I've got an alternative to the bottles, in terms of the material, or if I've got an alternative to, working in the lines of, some companies actually go into the extent of reducing the amount of bottles that are going out, but they ship these in large containers and ask for their customers, their loyal customers, to refill these products with whatever they've already got. Now they can give them a recyclable product. They can give them a recyclable bottle, or a shampoo or bottle for shampoos. I mean, here you're keeping the product for longer, so you might as well design it much better. And talking about how, if you are a business that registers for the tax, you will need to pay the plastic packaging tax on any packaging that contains less than 30% recycled plastic. So, now talking about the way the plastic needs to be, the contents of the packaging. Like I said, it's not the easiest to have a plastic packaging alternative, right? I mean, it's not the most cost effective. I mean, some companies would rather pay this tax than look for alternatives, because the balance sheets at the end of the day are important as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually let you feel free to ask me questions on the show, because I'm with you all the way till 3 p.m. You can let me know what your queries are in terms of where these taxes should go to. If 30% is not enough, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Because if you can tell me in the lines of, if the 30% of recycled material in my packaging, if that is a benchmark or a point of determining if I need to pay taxes for my packaging or not. Is 30% too much? Is it not enough? What are your thoughts? You can actually let me know. You can actually comment on this video as well. You can share your thoughts on 07852 473 473. That is my number. I am on WhatsApp, Relax Radio, all the way on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can actually let us know on whichever channels. Comment. You can hit our bell icon as well. We are on the App Store, Play Store, because if you are looking to keeping us in your ears, keeping us in your head right throughout the day, wherever you go, you've got Relax Radio with you. Now I'm going to show you another quick video on who we are and what we do, but I'm gonna head out in for a bit where we show you who our sponsors are, and stay right tuned to hear the rest of the story. Good evening. bringing to you the conversations with, I'm talking about the taxes and what you will need to know in terms of what is going on with the businesses. Now, we did talk about 30%, requirement of, reused plastic. So I think, this gives, current businesses a bit of a barrier, a bit of a safety line in terms of, not incorporating too much of expenses immediately, but talking about a business that will need to register for the tax. Right now, you will need to pay plastic packaging tax on any packaging, and this will need to consider contain less than 30% recycled plastic. But the tax will be charged $200 per ton. And for example, if a manufacturer, if you manufacture 10 tons of plastic, and I mean, when we talk about packaging plastic, we talk about the bottles in shampoos, the boxes that butters might come in, or meat, and any style of any type of polythene plastic, or pack food covering, the you get dry food, fruits and so on, right? But adding to this, if you are to understand what is going on with more, containing for about 10 tons of plastic, and if there is, 1 ton that contains less than 30% recycled plastic, you will need to pay £200. So, I mean, I think this is pretty good. It's not a big killer, but you need to understand that this is all for a good reason, or so which is why I'm telling you to you can actually call up, you can share this video with your friends, or I mean, if it comes to your business partners, your friends, or your family that might need to know about this in the UK. Also, to add to this, the online service to register and pay will be available April 1st, 2022. But going further into the topic, you need to check if you will need to keep records. And if you are a business that manufactures or imports plastic packaging, even if it is less than 10 tons a year, you will need to keep records of the plastic packaging. You need to manufacture or import, right? So to add to that, I mean, plastic packaging assumes to be not even recycled content, but unless it can be shown for less than it does, if you are a business that manufactures or imports less than 10 tons of plastic packaging, people will intend to have you record your keeping the requirements, and reducing these, in one way, not only are the records kept, but there is further information that will be published later in the year. Now, I mean, if you are a business that supplies recycled plastics, if you are a business or a customer that wants more information on these type of quantities or materials, I mean, you can actually supply these to them. So I'd say consider using more recycled plastic. I'd say, although the tax is intended to encourage the greater use of recycled plastic, you can always, start to make changes to the packaging. You know, I mean, if you increase the packaging content, the recycled content in the packaging, this way you can actually reduce your taxes. But it is definitely going to be considered that that this might, if considered in terms of competition or alternatives in terms of costing, to make sure that at the end of the day, if the business is paying the tax, I mean, it should ideally be less costly than whatever it comes to the packaging taxes, or the alternatives. So making sure that your record is kept systematically, providing the right information. If you are a business that manufactures or provides imports plastic packaging, you should make sure that you will have the information to that you need in terms of establishing how much of tax you need to pay, or whether you need to confirm that you have nothing to pay. So you will need to know in terms of how much of plastic is recycled in the packaging that you manufacture. Also, whether any of the exemptions will apply, and how to provide the evidence of this. Now, if you do import plastic, if you do anything in the lines of manufacture or import plastic, you need to consider the you need to consider that your costing will be a part of your idea in terms of the numbers when it comes to your costs, or when it comes to the packaging. If you're coming to 10 tons of plastic a year, you need to understand that some records or demonstrations will be made to a tax threshold. So check in if you become a liable person in the future. If you are a business that buys plastic packaging, of which the tax should have already been paid, you may need to check that this is being properly accounted for, or avoid the possibility of being held liable. I mean, this is obvious, right? Because you need to push yourself to grow in terms of a business also. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all for profits, or unless you are an NGO or a non-profit. I mean, you need to plan for changes of invoices. You might be able to put it on the customer in terms of taxes, so that way you as a business are not charged more. I mean, if the customers are critical about the packaging, I mean, it depends on your industries. You can be in food, you can be in F&B. You need to make sure that you are not pushing to unnecessary costs either way. Now, I've got another cool topic that I think I want to talk to you about in the lines of NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. Now, Gary Vee has released his new NFT launch this year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down for you, explain what NFTs are, and explain this cool website that I've got to know about NFTs. Because when it comes to these are the future of art, because artists can basically be paid for every sale or every repurchase of their items going forward. Now, exclusive rights, everything, all of these are going to be a necessity. So I've got a cool concept that I want to share with you. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with you on the buzz. Good afternoon, UK. Now, talking about the conversation with NFTs, I told you I'm going to be bringing some NFT news to you before I head on to the next topic, right? What I've actually learned as of today is, when you're talking about, if you are interested in a sport, if you are interested in anything to do with NBA or let's say MMA, this conversation in the lines of NFTs, or if you're talking about NBA, if you're talking about MMA, you need to be on top of what Top Shot is. Now, Top Shot is basically a conversation with in the lines of where you basically break down what NFTs you purchase. Now, we know that NFTs are actually non-fungible tokens. Now, these non-fungible tokens are in the lines of these basically show you that you are the exclusive owner of a piece of art, even if it is a timestamp in history. So, talking about Top Shot. Now, Top Shot is basically a new platform that NBA fans, NBA collectors can actually collect history highlights and keep it with them. Now, not just keep it with you, but I mean, you can own a piece of history. It's superb. So I mean, breaking down, first you can collect the players' history, but I'll get back right into this soon. Hi everyone, it is Tim on the buzz. Talking to you about NFTs now. Now, I did talk to you about the fact that these pieces will be history in terms of where you are going, and in terms of superstars, the elite rookies, role players, and talking about your favorite teams. Basically, I mean, if you are a team follower, or if you are following it in the lines of your favorite player, if you have your favorite city, even, right? I mean, even if it's New York, you have the Brooklyn Nets, you have the Knicks as well. So I mean, you have so much of possibilities here. Now, if you are looking at younger players, you have Lonzo, you have Zion, you have Lamelo, you have Giannis. And if you're looking at the significant players that have made a mark in that their portfolio, that are already in the Hall of Fame, you can look at people like Michael Jordan. You can look at people like LeBron James, obviously Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Now, these are not just shots, right? We're talking about assists, we're talking about layups, we're talking about dunks, threes, game winners, all these, right? So these guys are actually structuring these in the lines of different verticals. Now, when I talk about